Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, or good night. It is Tuesday, and on Tuesday we spill the tea. We are diving into the second agreement in the 4 agreements, and this is kind of a short chapter, but even if you didn't read it, you're still going to get something to take away from this. There's always a lesson to be learned and something to think about. And yeah, but before we dive in, how are you? What's going on in your world? What's in your cup? What are you drinking today? What are you back into? Or I don't know, it snowed where I live last night, like a little bit. So I'm sure people are freaking out today because it doesn't happen very often here. I mean, it does, it's supposed to, but it hasn't snowed yet this year. So I guess that's a little exciting. But what else is going on in your world? What are you feeling? What are you hopeful for? We started Jumpstart today, a virtual group. So I'm really excited about that. A new beginning is always so much fun. Yeah, new beginnings are fun. New virtual workouts are fun. But, okay, second agreement. So I kind of posted a couple of things, a couple of important messages to take away from this agreement, which is don't take things personally. Don't take anything personally. And that's so easy to say, I know. And you're like, yeah, obviously, I don't take anything personally. But listen, yes, you do. Because everybody does. Because we live in a world where everything revolves around us. And that's just the way it is. You live in this body, you work in this body, you think about this body before anybody else, right? I mean, you have to. You're the only one that knows all the things that are happening in here. So with that, it is very easy to assume, which is next week's, but it's very easy to see something or hear something or feel like something is directed at you. Like it's a poke at you. Very, very easy. But 2 things I want you to walk away from this, if nothing else, even if you didn't read this chapter on the second agreement. Nothing other people do is because of me, and words do not affect me because I know who I am. Now, if you can embody either one of those things, you are on your path to being set free from this idea that everything is happening because of you. So, think about this. What can you control, really? What can you control around you? What can you control? What's the most important thing or the main thing that you can control? Yourself, right? As much as we really want to, have a say or control other people, we can really only control what's happening with ourselves. And that's how we make change, right? We start with the man in the mirror and we move forward. So knowing this, how can we give any energy or time of day to this poison inflicted on us by other people? If you are responsible for you, then he is responsible for him, she is responsible for her, and that's just the way it is. So remember last week we talked about being impeccable with your word, and gossip and negativity and all of those other things we're referring to kind of as poison or black magic. Well, the same thing with taking things personally. So if someone says something unkind and it's cryptic, I feel like this probably still happens on Facebook, but before Facebook, people would put away messages in their AOL Instant Messenger. Do you remember this? And it would be super cryptic, maybe it would be a song lyric and you're looking at it oh my God, is that about me? That sounds like it's about me. Why is she mad at me? What did I do? Oh my gosh, can I make it up to her? Whatever it is, right? We immediately think it is about us. But the truth is, 100% of the time, it is about the person that posted it. It is their reflection or their reaction or their revenge even. and it has nothing to do with you. Even if you are the subject of it, it has everything to do with that person's reaction or response to what's going on around their world. So it's easy to fall into those reactions of like, somebody said something or posted something or said something to someone else, and it gets back to you, and it's like, are they doing this on purpose? What did I do? Why don't I belong? Why is everybody talking about me? Are they mad? Did I stumble into some bad lighting? Like, what is it? It's so easy to ask yourself those questions and fall prey to those things. But remember, anytime somebody says something or does something, even if you feel like you are this subject, or even if they're saying it directly to you, it's not about you. It's about them. It's about their reaction. It's about their perspective. And everybody's perspective is going to be different and unique. My perspective is not the same as your perspective. Need that with the weird, oh my gosh, yes, Marlo. I know, don't you always feel like I've read this so many times, and every single freaking time, it's the perfect time to read it. Isn't that wild? Like, there's so many things happening, and right now, there's just crazy stuff going down with school, right? And people are throwing words around, but it's not about you. It's about them, and it's about their response to that situation. And it's because they're freaked out about what they have to do or what is happening to them. Like, I think right now, there are some parents who are keyboard warriors because they're freaking out because they've never had to be responsible for their child's education. Even though you say, like, you're a parent, you're responsible, but they're not. Like, they send them to school because that's what school does. School is responsible for their education or whatever. And now that it's being put on them, it's like, well, hold up, that was not what I signed up for, and you are wrong. So, yeah. And I feel like it goes the same way with teachers. Like, teachers didn't sign up to sit at home and watch their own children. You signed up to work because you want to go to work and you love your children, but like, they need to go to school and you need to go to work. And you'll see them later and you'll have your fun family time later. But you didn't sign up for that. So some of the things I think that teachers are saying are coming from that perspective too. But there's that idea. It's coming from your perspective. So even if somebody is doing all the same things that you're doing, or copying you, or using your words, it's not about you. It's about them because they're scared, or there's something not right. There's something not comfortable about their life, and that freaks them the F out. And they have to take it out on somebody. And if you are the nearest person, hey, guess what? They're going to direct those words at you, even though they're not about you. I know it is really hard to, this one is so hard. I think in the book he says the first one, be impeccable with your word, is the hardest, but I think these agreements just kind of get increasingly harder, especially if you don't start with that first one, with being impeccable with your word. Now remember, being impeccable with your word, it's not just what you're verbally saying, it's what you're thinking, it's what you're being. So if you are taking things personally, you're not being impeccable with your word because you're believing these lies or taking in this poison or expecting everything is about you, which obviously it is. But what other people say, there's just this huge amount of freedom that comes from not taking things personally. And it's a baby step. You have to do it one moment at a time, one action at a time, one piece of gossip at a time. If you look at something and you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally said that. That's about me. Everything, like you become pale and your heart sinks to your butt, and it just makes this awful situation going on in your mind, and you're thinking, I am less than, what did I do wrong? And you start to destroy yourself. And we can't do that. You don't have time for that. We cannot do that. The whole world could gossip about you, and it doesn't matter. I know that's really hard to think about, especially like if you can think back, and I can't even imagine what it's like to be a child with Facebook growing up in school right now, because like bullying is real. But just imagine, like, I don't know if you were ever bullied as a kid, but the whole school says something about you or believes something about you, it's really hard to go to school. It's really hard to look at people. And you're like, everything that they're looking at, oh my gosh, she looked at me funny. Did she know? Did she hear that rumor? Did they spread that gossip? Oh my gosh, he looked at me funny. Does he know? Did they spread that rumor? And you just start to fall apart. And at the end of the day, like, they're going to move on, but you're still going to have that poison over you. But what if you just let that wash off you? Like, oh yeah, he's looking at me funny. Maybe he heard something. That's his business. Oh, she's looking at me funny. Maybe she heard something. That's her business. What I know is the truth, and none of that is real. And the moment you can do that, the moments you can do that, and it builds on each other, you become free. Because no longer are you tied down to other people's poison. And I know it's so much easier said than done. Like, these agreements are so cute because they're short. They're like, don't take anything personally. And you're like, yeah. But why is she looking at me like that? Right? Like, it's so easy to fall into that. Did she just say something about me? I think they're talking about me. It's like, it can just slowly roll into this bigger thing and just break you down from the inside. But at the end of the day, you are the only one that can control you. You are the only one that is responsible for you. You have to live in this body, in this life. So why worry about what other people are thinking or saying or doing? You know, that going back to be impeccable with your word and don't take anything personally, if someone is spreading lies or gossip, that says more about them than it does about you, because they're the ones that are perpetuating this poison. Even if it's true, whatever. Usually malicious things that come out of people's mouths have a tendency to be not very true. They're an iteration of the truth, but they're just mean. But what book is this based on? Oh, this is called, Morgan, this is the 4 Agreements based on Toltec wisdom. So it's a personal guide for personal freedom, right? So the idea is if you follow these agreements, you can become more free, which is what we're all after, right? We don't want to have all these worries. So whatever people feel or do or say around you, it's not about you. It's about them. I want you, as you go through your day or your week, to remember that nothing other people do is because of me. And when you start to say that, eventually you'll start to believe that, and it will start to become part of you, and you will just be so much happier, not worried about what other people are thinking or saying. And the crazy thing is, like, I'm thinking back to things that were such a big deal, and rumors that were spread and stories that were told, and they meant such a big deal at the time and they broke me down. But today, they don't matter. Nobody remembers. Maybe they remember. I don't know. You'll remember more because it's your issue, but other people forget stuff. Like, even think about your favorite celebrities, right? Like, we're all like, oh my gosh, Kanye, what is he doing? I mean, not all of us. I am. But, you know, we're like so excited about what they're doing. And, you know, we form these opinions about these people, but we don't know them. I don't know him. So why would he care if I said something bad about him? I try not to say anything bad about Kanye, but you know what I mean. Why? People don't really know you. People don't really know you. So why would you care what they say about you? They don't know you. They don't know that you spend 17 hours a day planning lessons because you want to make sure that your kids are getting the concepts and the material and they're being looked after. They don't know. They don't know you. So why would you accept the poison or the words that they say about you? Why would you take those words and put them into your mind and into your body and into your soul? That's poison. And it flows through you, and they move on with their day. They're like, I said something awful. Move on with my day. And you are just like letting that seep through you. But why? Like, they're not worth it. It's your life. You're the one who has to live that life. And if you can just be like, oh, they're saying all these things, push away, it's not about me, then you can go on living your life and you can take control of your life and you can keep doing really good things and keep pushing through. And I know, again, I know it's easier said than done. But as you go through today, the rest of the week, the rest of your life, nothing other people do is because of me. Even if it's like a flattery thing and they're trying to like dress like you or look like you or talk like you or be like you. I mean, obviously they are because you're awesome, but it's not because of you, it's because of them. They fear having their own identity, so they have to take yours. I said it. I said it. Usually people do those things out of fear, and fear is a monster, and fear is gross, and fear is poison, and you're not afraid. You're not afraid to be yourself and to live your life. So why would you accept their fear? Let them have their fear. Let them break themselves down and figure themselves out. You can only worry about you. You can't like worry about what other people are going to say, because people are going to say stupid crap, because they always do. Just be like, oh, that's weird, and move on. I know. Every single time that you do it, though, it gets easier, and you stop caring. And I think some of it, you just get older, but I don't know, guys. I'm 35, and I still have moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, did she just look at me funny? And I'm like, wait, who cares? Like, hold on. Maybe she did. Maybe you have something on your face. I don't know. But it's fine. It's fine. We'll move on from this. So, yeah. I hope that as we continue this series that you're learning more and you're growing more, and maybe you just have a moment where you're like, oh yeah, that's cute, and then you move on, but maybe you'll come back to it eventually. I'm pretty sure the first time I read it, like I was like, oh, that's cute, and I moved on. But every single other time I've gone into and would dive into this text, it speaks a little louder to me, and I love that I get to share it. Okay, so we started with be impeccable with your word, moved into don't take anything personally. Next week is don't make assumptions. So don't take anything personally and don't make assumptions. I find intertwine a lot, because sometimes when we think other people are talking about us, we make assumptions and we take it personally. So buckle up. If this week was hard, it's gonna get a little harder. But the more we see it, it's about awareness. The more you look at it in the eye and embrace it and see it and stare it down, you'll be able to see it, recognize it, understand it, and then change it. That's how it works, right? You can't change something you don't know exists. So discussing it drives it home. I know, it really does, doesn't it? Like you can read, I have to do all the things. That's one of the reasons I wanted to be a teacher, Marlo, because I was like, let's read the text and then let's discuss the text. And that was like my favorite part of classes. I loved it. I loved talking about the text, even though it was like me and the teacher who were like, yeah, right? And everybody else was like, you read it? Like, obviously it was amazing. But anyway, so next week, don't make assumptions. Buckle up, you guys. It's going to get bumpy before it gets better, but you are in control of you. Nothing other people say, do, or are about is because of you. It's because of them. It's always because of them. All right, go forth. Don't take anything personally. Have a great week, and I will see you for next week, where we are not going to be making any assumptions. We probably will, but we're going to understand why we do it. Bye.